Welcome to the LynnCAM TV Show. I'm your host, Sean Donahue. Here with me today are three advocates of the Lynn Shelter Association. We have Margie St. Paul, the executive director, who's been over there for 12 years, Allison Brooks, who's a volunteer, and John Hudson, who's a guest over there. So guys, I just want to say thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Good to have you. So let's jump into it. What we're going to talk about today are what the needs are of the Lynn Shelter Association, what some of your continuous improvements are, some of the programs you've got, and then any events coming up. So let's just jump into it. For those at home who may not know about it, Margie, could you tell us a little bit about what the Lynn Shelter Association provides to the community of Lynn?
I think one of the things that people think is that we're just a shelter, and we're more than a shelter. We have the adult shelter, but we also have shelter for families, and we're opening another congregate shelter for families. We have close to 100 units of semi-permanent to permanent housing. We have transitional housing for people. We have a veterans housing initiative at High Street. We have housing for people who are chronically homeless. So a lot of it is a sort of safety net, starting with the shelter and then moving them into housing where we can ensure that they are able to stay in that housing for a longer period of time.
Now, when it comes to the organization, you've been there 12 years. You're the executive director, so I mean, you're pretty much responsible and held accountable for a lot of what goes down and doesn't go down there. So that's good stuff. I think that you're great for the gig, and based on your experience and what I've been hearing about the association, you've been doing your job and much more. So what I want to get into is a little bit about the history. Is there anything more to it than just your 12 years there? When did it start? How did it get started?
It was incorporated in 1984, so this is our 30th year of doing business. And when it started, it was just a shelter, and it actually started in a church basement. Then the city got involved, and we moved into the multi-service center as a shelter, and we added the concepts of programming because it was important to us to be able to provide service on top of that to make sure that people had something other than just an emergency piece.
Okay. Now, Dr. Allison Brooks, you're a volunteer over there. Tell us about the programs that the Shelter Association offers.
I'm not just a volunteer, I'm a passionate admirer of the Lynn Shelter Association. It's an organization that's very dear to my heart. As you heard from Margie, there are places for people to stay of many different sorts, and there are also a variety of programs. People who come are not simply sheltered overnight, they're invited to join in a variety of programs. You can have computer literacy, various forms of education, job skills training. You can be shown how to find a job, what benefits you might be entitled to. There are a multitude of ways in which people are helped. There are caseworkers who work with individuals to help them go on their journey from being homeless to being able to live independently.
So that's the goal, to enable these people to be able to get themselves back on their feet and get back into the role of society. Now, you have an accent. Sounds like you're from Marblehead.
Actually, I live in Salem.
Well, the reason why I'm just interested. I always get interested when people come to Lynn and how did you hear about us? I mean, what made you decide to come here and do such a great deed here in our community?
Well, the first way that I ended up, the way I arrived at the shelter was actually through Temple Sinai in Marblehead. I'm Jewish and I'm a member of the temple, but the thing that I take from my Jewishness is the quality of charity. I really do believe that it's very, very important to help people less fortunate than myself. And there was one Christmas a long time ago, my children were small, when somebody mentioned that there was nothing to eat that Christmas at the shelter, and so I came along and made a meal. And since then I've been coming every Christmas on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving. And there was a time when I would come every fourth Sunday as well. I'm ashamed to say I don't do it every month now, but I like to make meals at the shelter, and I like to make meals which are not simply food given through a hatch to somebody. I like to really talk to the people and have a party, and we have a celebration, and I bring chandeliers and tablecloths, and it's all lovely and elegant, and we have and we make it into a family occasion. And my goal is that I wish the Shelter Association wasn't necessary, but while it is still necessary, while there are still homeless people, I would like them to feel like they're part of a family, that they're able to help each other, and that there are times when there are celebrations and that there are beautiful things that happen. And I also like to raise friends and raise awareness and make people enthusiastic about giving what they can in terms of time, passion, food, and of course, most of all, money is what's needed.
So it's safe to assume you're an advocate, without a doubt.
A passionate advocate.
Now, John, you're a guest over there. We've talked a little bit before the show. Your story is amazing, based on where you were and where you are now. Currently, you're working to get back into school, or you are back in school?
I'm working to get back
Working to get back into school. So now, Dr. Allison Brooks had mentioned that community is a big thing, and for her to instill a community-based atmosphere there is huge to her. And I think that probably has a big role in regards to the psychology about being homeless. I'm sure when the first time that somebody becomes homeless, it must be one of the scariest things in the world.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that, and then build on what the association's done for you? Is there a culture down there? Is there a sense of community?
Okay. As far as the shyness and not wanting to be there or be seen hanging out front, that comes from my background of my family members have been using that shelter for quite a long time. I never realized that they had opportunities such as being able to get a grant for school, set you up for psychiatrist appointments if you need them.
Paperwork too. I mean, these guys,
it's crazy.
these counselors who work over there, you had mentioned their names. I mean, they're on a first name basis with you.
Absolutely.
So they work with you a lot.
Yes, they do. They work great with me. Anything you need, you just go and ask them. You know what I mean? You need to take a ride. You need to take a breather. I'll take you for a ride. Like you said, Mike helped me out with my college. I just got approved for my grant.
Congrats.
So, yeah, to go to college. I'm going to do summer school because I'm computer illiterate, like I said earlier, so I'm going to take care of that. I got to do one thing at a time. I have my own physical and mental issues that I deal with, and so I can't take on too much at once. And they work with me on that. You know what I mean? They make me want to be there, instead of me wanting to leave. If I ever wanted to leave, they'd come to me and say, John, what are you doing?
Right.
You're getting so far ahead right now. I've only been there 2 weeks, and I've accomplished so much. I mean, it's amazing.
So you've been there 2 weeks.
That's it.
And in a span of 2 weeks, you've already done. You
Yep,
got a grant for college.
Yep.
You got your paperwork rolling.
Yeah.
What else? What are some of your other priorities right now?
I also got housing. I also got an interview up at High Street to have a room up there. The woman Shelley up there is wonderful. She told me within 24 hours of me getting my identification that to call her, and she would love to have me up there.
Awesome news.
We prefer to call it Great Hill rather than High Street.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great Hill. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't know, but and like I said, I've lived in this city my whole entire life.
Now you've been a Lynn guy for a long time.
Yes.
So let's talk about Lynn and like some of the stereotypes that we hear about Lynn. Nowadays, it's like you can't go anywhere in the North Shore without hearing Lynn, City of Sin.
Right.
And it's like as a Lynn advocate, it couldn't anger me more. I mean, I come from a family that takes pride in where they're from, their community, and it seems like all you guys can talk to the same, subject as well. So, like one of my new things is it's Lynn, the city of Win. Tell us about some of the stereotypes you face, not just as a Lynn guy, but as a member of the Lynn Shelter Association, and some of the stereotypes that we may know about for homeless people.
Well, I mean, me personally too. I mean, like I said, I've had family members that have lived there. My last name is notorious for that. We're good people, though. My family are good people. We just have issues to deal with, whether we deal with them or not. We choose to deal with them. I do. Oh, I choose to deal with them. But a lot of people associate the shelter with, just people that are alcoholics or drug addicts. I mean, there's literally people that are just homeless. They're not addicts. They're not, they're not alcoholics. They just, either lost a job, have nowhere to live. I mean, there's one woman down there now. She goes to nursing school. She works at a nursing home or whatever. She gets up every day and goes there. It's just that she has no housing.
It's unfortunate, and I mean, I'm happy you said that, because the drugs and the alcohol, although it is part of it, it's a small minority. Right. A lot of the people who are dealing with homelessness are either dealing it because, one, they're not up to par with technology. Two, they lost their job or they lost their housing, and they just recently found themselves homeless. And I mean, I couldn't imagine what that would be like. I mean, the first day of homelessness, just imagine it. Like,
it was very degrading to me.
Yeah, it's like you can't as human beings, I think that it's hard for me to ask for help. I mean, just as a person, I always want to think I can do it. And then you got other people who find it easy to ask for help. But just imagine your first day of being homeless, and then you have to admit to yourself I don't have a place to stay. Right. And then you have to admit to yourself I'm going to need to seek help. So right. I mean, there's been a tremendous amount of struggle in your path, and I think that it's going to help you in becoming successful. So I definitely stick with it, man. Without a doubt, keep going, keep working with this association. Now, to switch gears just a little bit, Margie, you had mentioned a couple programs that stood out to me. You had a veterans program over there, and then you had the GH CAP. Tell me a little bit about those.
Well, the veterans program is a housing initiative for veterans who were coming back and were actually living on the street. And with the Lynn Housing Authority, which is, by the way, the best housing authority in the state, in the world, as far as I'm concerned. They spend an inordinate amount of time working with the homeless. We basically put together a bunch of units where veterans who were returning and found themselves in situations where they had mental health issues or other issues that were standing in their way of getting veterans benefits immediately, were able to have housing on a short-term basis, transitionally. And it's worked very well for us. And then with further assistance from the VA, after they've been with us for a little while, they've been able to move on with VASH vouchers to subsidized housing. So that's one of the programs that we have. The other one is called GH CAP, which is for chronically homeless and chronically addicted homeless individuals. A lot of those people have severe mental health issues, and being on the street with a mental health issue is brutal. You are victimized in so many, many ways. And
people who they simply can't look after themselves. They need to be helped.
They need help.
And
have you seen this down there?
Have I seen this? Let me tell you something. Never in a million years did I ever think I would dress another man. There are individuals down there that they may be under the influence or whatever, but we have one guy down there. He's got arthritis. He can't even pull his pants up. He can't even put his socks on. He can't put his shoes on, And I ended up dressing him, and it was a great feeling because I was giving back.
Right.
And it's humbling too.
Yes, very humbling. You kidding me? I'm glad that I stayed, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to do whatever I can to come back, but I'm coming back a different person. I've helped a few people. I mean, there's another individual that has a hard time walking. I've walked him to Union Street. The staff, it's hard for the staff because they don't they don't have that many. I mean, they work double shifts, and they're great. They make you want to be there. They don't degrade you. They treat everyone the same.
That's exactly what you need in that time. You know, it's not. I mean, it's a subject that we all understand is very difficult, and you know, there's a whole learning process that you're going to go through.
Right.
I mean, just like, you know, the fact that like you had to help that guy get dressed, like that was a step that you had never taken before,
and it
here
wasn't
you
that
are.
I had to.
Right, but like you wanted to.
Right.
And I mean, that's the human in you, man. Like that's just us wanting to be people and help people out.
We have quite a few wonderful success stories. We have the man that we love so much, Randy. Randy, a young man who 7 years ago was drug addicted and frequently really completely unable to take care of himself. You would see him roller skating around Lynn, actually, and he was in a relationship with a woman, and they became pregnant, and there was a question over whether or not this baby would be born, and eventually she was. She's now 7 years old. That's Kathleen. And to cut a long and quite wonderful story short, it was through the services of the Lynn Shelter Association, with the programs that were offered, that Randy became free of drugs and free of alcohol, and he now lives on Union Street. I'm pretty sure he's working. I don't know the details, but he's independent, and he's taking care of his daughter, who's in school and doing well.
Always in school.
All of this was done with the help of, first of all, he came to the adult shelter, which is my personal favorite of all the shelters, but he then went through living at the Osmond. That's that building that says Osmond Hotel. It's actually not a hotel. It's a room where people live independently, but with some supervision to help them to keep on track, and now he's completely independent. This was all done through the help that Margie's organisation.
Amazing stuff. Let's hold that thought. I want to talk more about the success stories that you've had in the past and you're planning on having in the future. Let's talk a little bit more about your programs. We'll also go to a couple pictures from the association. That way we can get an idea what you guys have to offer down there. So right now we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back, and stay tuned.
Chinese. I am Russian. I am East African.
I'm Canadian.
I am Filipino.
I am Irish.
I am Bulgarian. Korean. I am American. I am Brazilian. Italian.
Mexican. I'm British.
Swedish. French. I'm Israeli.
Mongolian. I'm South African.
Japanese. We are mankind.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, here with me are three elitists from the Lynn Shelter Association. We have Margie, Allison, and John here with us to talk about what the association is and what it has to offer to the Lynn community. Margie, let's get right back into it. Before we took a break, we were talking about some of the success stories. I understand that you used to have a program, the day program, that brought you some success. Currently, it's under. What had happened?
Well, we have it till the end of March, but then the funding for it has gone away. And the problem with that is that all the people from the shelter use that program during the day to continue the process that the shelter starts at night, which is the case management and moving them forward with different pieces of the work that they've started and find anger management, housing search, job search, different programs that they're working with that they can language,
It's probably a big one.
Yes.
yeah.
We have
English
people,
as a second
we do
language,
have people who
ABE,
don't have
GED
English as their first
classes.
language.
Exactly. So, and without that, I don't know if you have a picture of it, but I know that Allison tried. But the day program today probably has, 60 people sitting in it.
Yes.
And all those 60 people will be on the street once it closes. So that will be very difficult. Difficult for the city as well as difficult for the people that we serve. So that's a shame.
We actually have
that's
some of
a
those
shame.
pictures up here.
Yeah.
Allison, you can probably tell us a little bit more
what we
about
have
them.
up there, that was last night. So that was mid-February in the main, the picture on the left, that's a picture looking at the whole main room of the shelter, and I think there were probably about 90 people there. It was basically sort of like almost standing room only. There are some donated chairs. Some people can sit down, other people are perched on the television table or sitting on a desk. They're crowded in, and at night, that room is full of mats and people are sleeping on the floor. There's nowhere else for people to sit. I was very moved by the fact that right in the middle of it, there was a beautiful young man, all covered up in clothes. I couldn't quite see who it was at first, and he was doing his math homework. He's at college, and he was doing his math homework, and all around him there's all this confusion going on. And everybody living in one room. Up at the top, I think I've taken a picture of, that was the kitchen. Oh, I'm passionate about the kitchen. Oh dear. There's one stove. There is a freezer and an average size refrigerator. There is a microwave, and there's almost nothing else. And that kitchen serves up to 90 people some nights. And when we do our big meals, when we're trying to all eat together, basically we cook in my house and bring it all over wrapped up in bath towels to keep it hot. We really need an improvement in that kitchen. It does not serve 90 people.
No.
And then she leaves all the bath towels for us.
But then,
best house guest
I'm sorry, I've got
ever.
very old eyesight. I can't really see from here, but then there's a picture of somebody doing his intake with one of the young staff over there. That's the office. Yes, that's you, John, isn't it? Sitting there.
That was me,
Yeah, that's the office. There's nothing else. That's it.
That staff member right there. He's unbelievable.
That's
he's
Derek.
amazing.
That's Derek.
Derek.
Yeah.
Derek's
So you're
awesome.
working with him. Great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He deals with everybody on a straight level, you know.
Now,
What you see there is basically it. Plus, there are 2 bathrooms, which we also have pictures of in very minimal. That's the picture of the women's bathroom.
Oh, wow.
For all the women,
the
let's
top,
say
yeah.
there's at the most usually, there could be, say, 25 women a night at most, perhaps not always
Yeah.
that many. But basically, we have 2 loos, 2 sinks, and 2 showers, and nowhere to put anything down. That's
Wow.
it for the women. That's actually the better one, because the men's one, which I think I didn't take a picture of, has got 3 loos, 1 shower that's all broken and horrible, 1 4-man shower of which only 1 thing actually works. So
Those
it's
are
basically 2
mats.
showers for all the men, and then there are
Right.
2 urinals and 3 sinks.
Those are the
And
mats
this
behind
gentleman that you see up there now is in a wheelchair that needs to be, what do you call it? He has to plug it in
Plug
every
it in,
night.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
In order for
there
it
are
to
2
work.
people in wheelchairs. The one
Yeah,
sitting in the
and you
mat room, he was explaining to me you can just about see it. There's a mat. He's in an electric wheelchair. He's in a horrible, very small little room, and that's piles of mats. And at night, those mats come out into the main room that we just saw that was really crowded. People are sleeping on the mats, and he and the other man in the wheelchair sleep on the box springs which are holding up all those mats in that storeroom.
Then, I mean, no cushion at all. The box
That's
springs.
what
the
they
box
have.
spring,
It's
yeah.
awful.
So you can definitely tell there aren't a whole lot of accommodations over there. John, you had mentioned overcrowding's an issue.
Yes.
Allison, you know a lot about what the needs are over there. Let's talk about what some of the continuous improvements are, what is priority, and what needs to be done and able to basically get you guys the accommodations you need.
Well, it sort of comes in two sets. I would say that probably the most urgent thing is to get the day program funded, because we can't have dozens of people walking around freezing on the street at risk of frostbite and
Right.
getting terribly ill, and it's just awful. We can't have that. So probably the first thing we need is a lot of money and a promise from whoever it is. I'm sorry, I don't know who funds the day program. We need that day program, and if we can't get it funded by who it's currently funded by, we need everyone else to chip in. We need benefactors to come along and make sure that people are not out in this freezing weather on the streets during the day.
Now, how
That's
can people
the main
get?
thing.
How can they get involved? How do they donate if they want to donate? How do they volunteer if they want to volunteer?
I would say, simply put, they probably need to get in touch with Margie, wouldn't you say?
So reach
I
out to
think-
Margie
Yeah.
over down there at the
Do
Lynn.
it through the website. We probably have the telephone number up there. Just go through the
do.
website,
Absolutely.
the telephone number. I think that's probably the easiest and simplest way of putting it. If you feel moved by this, as I have been for about 15 years now, get in touch with Margie and see what you can offer.
Yeah, it's a beneficial program, especially to the community. You know, we
Yeah.
got guys like John down there who are busting their hump to get back on their feet, and you know, it seems it is in the homeless culture. It's not like they're looking for handouts. They need help back on their feet, and they'll take it from there. And that seems to be
One of our things is it's not a handout, it's a hand up. No one's asking for anything for free. No one's not trying to do the work. It isn't as though anyone asks to be homeless. I mean, please understand that a lot of these people find themselves in this position because they lost a job. Families lose their houses. This is a time when all of us, for any reason, or losing a job and being not able to pay your mortgage for 2 months.
It's unforeseen
could find
events.
us.
It's
Yes.
things like injuries. A
Yeah.
lot of people use their hands to work. This is one of the things that moves me very much as a doctor. I see people whose bodies are needed for them to make a living, people who are that's what
Right,
you
like
do, isn't
John,
it?
he
Right?
needs to do
People who do painting, people who do things that require their hands or their muscles, and then they're just one back injury away from being unable to
Right.
work anymore. And then, or I saw the man in the wheelchair, he has terrible diabetes and he can't feel his hands and his feet. He can't work. It's not that he doesn't want to
Want
or
to
isn't
work,
able
yeah.
or something like that. He can't. He's too sick to work.
The Shelter Association is a huge part of being able to help out Lynn community. I absolutely 100% agree. You guys got to get your day program back.
We would also like to improve the facilities.
Absolutely. That's about all the time that we'll have for today. I want to say thank you guys for coming down. I really appreciate it. Anytime that you want to voice your opinion or get the word out about what you guys are doing down there, please reach out to us. From the LynnCAM TV Show, I'm your host with the Lynn Shelter Association, Margie, Allison, and John. Thanks for being here.
Come to our event on March 22nd.
An event on March 22nd. It's Flashback. You can check out our scroll board and Facebook for more details. Stay tuned and tune in next week.
Thank you very much.
Hey.